Hi, I'm Ian Melchinger. I'm from New Haven, Connecticut. I was part of cohort 10 with Idle Courses in April and May of 2022. And before that, I was a high school English teacher for a long time. And then before that, I worked in the Los Angeles, Hollywood movie industries. Idle Courses also has a subgroup that Dr. Robin has created called Idle Talent. And she runs it as a talent agency. And there are really two kinds of work that go on through Idle Talent. One of them is internal, where they may ask you to make videos or learning pieces. They're always upgrading their materials because they pride themselves on idle teaching created by idols for idols, and that everything is built that way. And then also Idle Talent works as an agency to supply IDs for jobs, either directly for a client or maybe even through another agency that provides talent to a client. So you may end up having several stages of work that are all covered by non-disclosure agreements. So in all of those situations, you would still write on your resume, I work for Idle Talent, but they're supplying you to all kinds of different institutions and agencies. So officially, I work for Idle Talent. On my LinkedIn profile, on my resume, I am an employee of Idle Talent, and I work through them on a 1099 basis. And everyone else who's involved, whether it's internal work or whether I'm working for another agency or another company, that's immaterial because from a legal financial perspective, they're all outside the non-disclosure agreement. So I am an employee of Idle Talent. So it's officially contract work. I'm currently going through the freelancing boot camp and learning that that falls under a subheading of freelancer. So I'm a freelancer contractor, but really I'm a part-time contract employee. I haven't gone through the trouble of an EIN or having an LLC. I'm just a contract worker getting an hourly and filling in all of my paperwork and submitting it to Idle Talent for reimbursement. And that's how that relationship works. So what I learned was that while I was just trying to be the best student I could be and to uh, get my minimum viable portfolio, my MVP together, and to get that first certificate slash badge, that is something I really just did sort of for my pride and ego and sense of completion before I was done with my 8 weeks. What I did not know is that Dr. Robin and her team were really going through the links and going through my portfolio, not to give me notes on improving it, but to assess whether I was a good match for work that they had. And even while I was going through my storyline badge, right, for the next development, which came after the first job, because the first job I'm doing is mostly Rise and mostly about writing. While I was doing my storyline badge, that whole discussion, although my storyline skills are still not very good, it turns out that I make a lot of references to video. And so really just by talking in the chat environments with coaches and with mentors about video, my name came up in a discussion about how to go to the next level. So I think it's worth noting that although it is not as clear as you need to meet certain criteria, there's no point in going through Idle and being invisible. That where you can bring value, you should bring value, and where you can show a sense of how you are to work with. Are you friendly? Are you hypercritical? What's your deal? Those things were all taken into some discussions that I was not privy to. And by the time they contacted me, it was clear that they'd sort of sifted through and discussed what might be a good match for me. So right at the end of my 8th week in my cohort, I applied through a little portal where you fill out your W-9 and you become available to work for Idle Talent. And I didn't really know what that was going to mean. So I got connected to another agency whose name I'm not allowed to say. And then they connected me to a large computer company that's building training for certification for a set of tools within their large environment of tools that they make. And when I got through all those portals and opened that up, there were a number of IDs who I knew from my cohort, but also from earlier cohorts. And since then, more recently, other people have shown up, and we're all collaborating on a large course. So you do this little work and you use Slack and you reconnect all of your ideas as they're all being worked out with the SMEs. So that's one main kind of work. And I've been doing that for something like 20, maybe 30 hours a week at a set hourly rate. Another thing that has come on since then, based mostly on the way I comment on other people's things. We talked a lot about video, and then I just got asked to do an internal piece about building some materials for the next upgrade of what Idle Courses wants to do, because Dr. Robin wants to swap out some of the live interactive things that she's doing and put in more standardized material that actually represents what we're talking about. So she wants more video, explainer videos when we're talking about explainer videos, that kind of thing. So now I'm working with one of the folks in Idle Courses as he's being my SME, and I'm developing something that is the look and feel of Idle Courses, but also is where they're trying to go. Well, for me, it's been essential. I'm an empty nester now. I'm not hungry for belonging to another company for full-time employment. I'm interested in freelancing, but while I'm not risk averse, I'm not trying to jump into a situation. I don't like going to places where I don't know what's going on. So I had an idea when I began Idle, when I began the 8-week program, that maybe there was some way I could learn, get experience, try different kinds of things, but also check back in with a community that would understand what was normal. So that when I got through the first time of everything, I could think, am I doing okay? Am I actually crushing this job, or am I just squeaking by? I had no idea. Idle Talent for me has been an essential step beyond Idle Academy. And now when I go back to the next cohort and kind of visit in, some things I'm like, yes, I know this from my own working experience, and other things I'm like, right. I need to work on this. So it's been wonderful for me to realize that my hard work is being appreciated, that I'm actually being able to create value, but I'm still within a community that wants me to succeed, rather than that kind of sometimes mean community out there that doesn't need you if you're not really rocking yet. So it's been more than just an entrance ramp. It's been a platform for me to understand what I'm really getting into as an ID in the real world.